Greg. Mike. Two bandits. Watching Bluey.
This episode is called Sleepytime with Adal Rifai.
What up, party people, and welcome to episode 78 of
cow.
Two Bandits Watching Bluey. I'm your good pal, Greg Painter.
There he is.
And with me, he's out of this world, and his name is...
Oh, thank you so much. I go by Mike Martin, typically.
Mike, we got a special one today. We are finally talking what some people say, best episode of Bluey, best episode of TV ever.
That's
Sleepytime.
It's IMDb level.
It's IMDb level, and we can't go alone in this fight, so we have a special guest with us today to talk Sleepytime.
Yes, we
You
do.
may know him as one of the hosts of Hey Riddle Riddle. You may know him as Chunt, the Badger Shapeshifter on Magic Tavern. You may know him as just a big old fan of Bluey. He's our new friend, Adal Rifai. Adal, thank you so much for joining us here.
Hooray!
Howdy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you all so much for having me. Very excited to be here. Very excited to talk. Any chance I get to gush about Bluey, I'm excited to do so.
Gush is an understatement.
We love it. Well, I'm curious, before we start talking Sleepytime, just curious kind of what got you into Bluey? What was kind of your entry point? And then what made you fall in love with the show?
Yeah, I truly can't recall the exact catalyst for me getting into the show. I feel like I had read some articles of like, there's this new Australian kids show coming to the US. Like, make sure you check it out. It's going to be on Disney Plus. So I feel like maybe I heard rumor of some great show coming, and I've always been fascinated by kids shows that are maybe a bit different or just maybe a bit above the cut in terms of like, I remember really enjoying Yo Gabba Gabba. Just watching it out of fascination and being like, this clearly isn't for me, but I'm just transfixed by how weird and wild and well done this is. Like, it shouldn't be this good, and it shouldn't be this like well produced and everything. So I think I just had a curiosity, and then I think when it came out on Disney Plus, I told my then girlfriend at the time, I was like, I heard this is supposed to be good. The episodes are like 7 minutes. Do you want to check out one? And she was like, yeah. And we watched one, and we genuinely laughed, which is a rarity to like these days to like genuinely laugh at something. And then I think we binged the whole first, I don't know if the whole first season was out, but the first half of the first season, we binged that within 24 hours, I believe.
Do you remember what your first episode was?
I mean, whatever episode 1 is of season 1.
Oh, nice.
Going linear.
Yeah.
That's impressive. It's big to say you binged a whole season of a show in one weekend, but then when you come back to it being a 7-minute episode, it's a little bit less, but still, I appreciate the effort there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop right into it then. Let's start talking Sleepytime. But before we do, let's see what our good friends at Wiki Bluey have to say about Sleepytime.
Goodness golly. Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
What's a Sleepytime?
Inside Bingo's dream, Bingo and Floppy have an intergalactic adventure while the rest of her sleep-deprived family try to navigate Bingo's non-stop nighttime bed hopping. This is throwing a little bit of shade at Bingo. I think just about everybody's bed hopping through this one. It's not just my girl Bingo's issue here tonight.
That's a true statement. That is 1,000% a true statement because everybody goes through a journey on this episode. Personally,
journey in more ways than one, but we'll kick things off with our guest, Adal. What made you want to pick this episode to discuss with us? What kind of drew you to Sleepytime?
Well, like you just mentioned, I do enjoy that it's like, it is kind of Bingo's journey, but much like the rest of the planets in the solar system, everyone has their revolution in this. Everyone slowly, subtly at their own pace starts to make their way around the house. And I think it's just...
You're getting deep on us already.
I think it's the first episode that genuinely made me tear up. And I think it's such a step outside of the box from what Bluey had been up until that point, in my opinion. And I think it's just this beautiful thing of like, here's this kids TV, here's a 7-minute kids TV show, animated kids TV show that's making me weep, that's making me think, that's making me feel emotions. And I think it's everything. It's the score, the music they play, it's the animation, it's like the light. There's moments of like lighting where I'm like, this is just gorgeous lighting for any animated show, let alone a kid show. and then intermixed with like actual moments of like slapstick humor. Just is just so well done, so well woven together that I wouldn't say like if you put me in a room with 50 writers and you're like write a 7-minute piece that makes you cry, makes you laugh, makes you go on a journey, makes you think, makes you feel, I'd be
It's
like,
almost not fair.
yeah, I'd be like, choose a lane. Like I can if I had 10 years, I could do one of those in 7 minutes, but to do all of those and do it so well and do it so seamlessly in 7 minutes, I like you were saying, I think it's the best Bluey episode, and I think it's one of the best like single episodes of TV in my opinion.
Well, that's why it's hanging out on IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time, it was number 2 on IMDb behind, what was that? Osmanius of Breaking Bad, and then apparently fans of Attack on Titan just reviewed bombed it to get it to 9.9 down from 10.
Finally.
Some people, I tell you. But it kicks off real fun, too. We're reading a book about a chick hatching from an egg, and we're reading a book about the solar systems. And I wish my dreams worked like that, too. Just like the last thing that you compose, you put in your mind, you just have like an epic adventure about. But I enjoyed also the contrast of parenting styles. We've got Mom silently reading a nice book to Bingo.
Oh!
And we got Bandit just Bluey by the leg, carrying him in, sleep. Which is more style? You think you feel like more of a Chili or more of a Bandit in that area?
I think I'm a Chili at first, and then I should say I don't have kids. I have 3 cats, and that's about it. But I would be a Chili at first, and then at some point become a Bandit. Yeah, absolutely.
If you grab a cat by the leg and chuck it, it turns pretty dangerous pretty fast too. So I get that.
Yeah, that would be a one-way ticket to some sort of scar. Something I failed to mention that I also want to touch on is just very quickly is speaking of Bandit. I think coming from I'm a improviser. I do a lot of improv. I teach a lot of improv. I do corporate improv. I teach at a college. I teach improv. I perform improv. I think to me, Bluey basically. I don't want to speak for them, but I think they're basically saying like good improv can be like parenting or like
Yes, ending.
Yes, it's every episode is so much of like the kids are like, I think today this and Bandit and Chili, either one or the other or collectively, are just like I don't know if it's exactly that, but let's see where this goes. Like, let's see if we kind of commit or we say yes or we like play along. Let's see how far we can take this, and let's kind of see what comes of it. And there might be roadblocks, there might be moments of like, okay, the improv's done or whatever that might be, but it's kind of beautiful as someone who's dedicated a lot of their life to improv. It's kind of beautiful and satisfying and rewarding to be like, oh, parenting might be some amount of like good improv. That could be a parenting style that's successful,
And it very much shows in the show itself.
Yeah, yes, anding and committing to the bit left and right. We definitely that's definitely a theme that we talk about and love being able to kind of take that forward in our lives with our kiddos too. But
yeah,
this one's ain't that though. This one is we just want sleep, and we got mom reading. Last thing she says, remember, I'm always here if you need me.
So I love that Bluey is not a main character of this episode because she's
out in a.
I'm going to bed.
No, she's like, I'm not tired. Passes right out on us. The transition from the waking world to Bingo's dream, I don't think Inception did as good a job as looking into the dream world of people as just zooming in on that book and then just bursting out of the egg there.
Yeah.
That was just a thing of beauty.
Beautiful, fun. The music, especially underneath it, gorgeous.
Music. Joff Bush, who does this, and actually halts the planets, is used throughout this episode in different moments, different key moments. You might want to use this with Miss Erin Keefe on an upcoming podcast. The closing song is actually called Jupiter.
Well.
Look at that. But we're getting all into it. We're flying around. And like you said, Adal, the art style in this, when Bingo's having her journey through the galaxy, is just a beautiful thing. What's not a beautiful thing, though, is waking up from a dead sleep and seeing your eldest child just staring you down in bed.
It's so perfect. It's such a real moment of just like Chili opening her eyes and like, ah, like it's like something you'd see in The Simpsons or something. It's just so well done. And
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it makes you like
Personally.
genuinely laugh. Like it feels like a real moment.
It truly is. Finn showed up, and my little son showed up one day. He was just standing in front of me. He's like, Daddy. I'm like, yeah. And he shoved his finger up my nose. I'm like, okay, good morning. So
we had a similar with my daughter Emily. She pretty much same thing, just kind of scared the heck out of my wife, who just then we have a crying 4-year-old in the middle of the night. So, but going back to Bingo's dream, Adal, what were some of the things that like really struck a note for you with her whole dream sequence, flying around, getting into all sorts of mischief around the house?
What struck a note for me was, I think a lot of dream episodes of different TV that I had seen before are basically like you see on her wall, she has those, which I had as a kid, which I loved, those glow in the dark nighttime sky stickers and stuff.
Yep.
So clearly there's elements in her room that are affecting her dream, her bunny and all this stuff, the temperature. But it's cool to see, so not just the temperature, but it's cool to see that it's not just like the last things I read before bed are affecting my sleep, but it's like a constant stream of tactile interruptions are affecting her dream. So like almost there's almost a 1-for-1 tactile connection to everything happening in reality in the house or in the bed that's correlating to what we're seeing in the dream. And I don't think I've really seen that before in dream episodes. It's usually just like, remember during your day this happened, well now it's happening in your dream,
right now,
but weirder. Yeah, so I really appreciated that.
You get those moments that, I mean, when we cut into her hanging out with the Jupiter, which is Bandit, in the episode.
Bandit. Poor Bandit.
He does get the kicks. And I think it's probably one of my favorite things in the episode was when they're kicking him and you get the because you don't get those whimpers.
I love when they're dogs. I love when they're dogs and not just cute dogs.
It's great. It's great. I love that Bandit is Jupiter, and that's usually because the all-encompassing. I get it. Bandit is not the sun in the episode. I get that. That's cool. No, as it hits me a little bit still in the feels, but seeing him as the big jovial one,
he's a nice soft planet that's getting smacked around and
right in the spot,
ran on his back, and then. Right in the biscuits.
Right in the biscuits.
That's not a way. You don't want to wake up with your kid staring you in the face. You don't want to wake up like that either.
Nope. And it's also it's kind of beautiful that there's the plush bunny or rabbit that
Floppy.
Yeah, that's kind of a 1-for-1 of like it's the same thing in the real world as it is in the dream world. But besides that, the only other thing it's kind of beautiful to show their relationship or how strong their connection is that when she's running on Jupiter, to see Bluey come into her dream as Bluey, and they're both doing it, and she's not anything else. She's not represented by a planet or a solar flare or anything. It's so beautiful to be like, that's how tight as sisters they are and as friends. And it's just beautiful to be like, there's no other representation of Bluey than Bluey, and to be able to like join her dreams like that and just be like, I'm popping in just to join this game and then I'm out of here it's just beautiful.
Dude, it's so spot on because she'll show up, and when she shows up as Bluey, but Floppy the bunny is an animated version of her stuffed animal. So she sees her with eyes and sees emotions. Her like in life, and she just sees, oh, that's my sister. As opposed to it being an animated version of Bluey, it's my sister.
And it's just a very comfortable, I'm joining your game. Like, that's how much I adore and love you, is that I'm going to join this game and then bounce. So it's just...
She also gets hit by a rock.
A bowling ball, like a meteorite.
Sure one person I was worried wasn't going to be fine is poor Bingo. The scene right before this where Bandit and Bluey are fighting over the sheets and then just Bingo goes flying. That girl is a good hard sleeper, because I think if I flew 6 feet in the air and came crashing down, that's me waking up for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a malleable kid.
But we're moving through this episode. We got Bandit now up, bringing Bingo back to her room, and then has to walk in on Bluey, having a night wee. See, 99 bars a thing. And I think you talk earlier about the small things that they do to make it fun. Just as they're both kind of half falling asleep, he keeps singing the song. He's like, 98 bottle. And then Bluey just kind of in the background wakes up more because he kind of startled himself. Just those small details. And again, a 7 minutes kid show, just chef's kiss.
Takes a lot. Mm-hmm. Bringing it back to the music across the board it's totally based on Joff just creating that moment. But there was something really, like, it's so fun to listen to this show with headphones on, because when Bingo sees Floppy the first time come out of the moon, which I love because she comes out of the moon because it's orbiting Earth. So it's her toy. So it's nobody else's moon. That's Bingo's. But when they connect and hug, there's this bass drop. And it's just so cool.
And to have it be cool. The she's reading about the chicken. When the baby chicken comes out of the egg, the first thing it sees is its mom, and all that. And then Floppy comes out of the moon, which is white like an egg. The first thing Floppy sees is Bingo, and then she knows that's her mom. So it's also cool to be like Chili. It's almost like generational in a weird way, not in a weird way, but in a maybe I'm overthinking it way of just like. Chili.
That's what we do. Don't worry.
I bet you're the right place to overthink Bluey.
Chili is giving this, parental advice to, not parental advice. She is Bingo's parent and giving this advice, and then in some weird way, Bingo is kind of replicating that or playing through it to understand it with Flopsy, because there's another moment obviously coming up just about now where Bingo lets go of Flopsy. And says, like, go off on your own, kind of like what Chili's doing to Bingo in the same regard.
Exactly.
Heartbreak. My eldest daughter has her own little Flopsy bunny. Calls her Mr. Bunny. Not overly improver there. But we had one time where Mr. Bunny was forgot 2.5 hours away at my in-laws' house in a snowstorm in lovely Syracuse, New York. And that was I got to be hero that day when I drive through the weather to save good old Mr. Bunny from the way. So when Floppy falls, it tugs at the heart. Yeah. Floppy goes away, and then the world was a cold place for Bingo.
You did it valiantly, sir. Give yourself credit.
But then moving on, next scene, poor Bandit is getting the short end of all the sticks on this one. On the floor with a slipper as a pillow and underwear, which who's wearing underwear? I'm very curious to know. But underwear as his blanket.
I was very excited to see random clothing in this episode, because this episode is full of pulling at all the heartstrings that you can. So to see random levity of clothing, sure, why not?
I like to think of like when he puts on the underwear and immediately like is overtaken by fur to where it looks like there's nothing being worn or something like. But yeah, clearly they're like, we need a piece of like something he covers up with, and they're like, whoa. Nothing up to this point has said there's any amount of clothing.
It's perfect. So he is always technically wearing clothes.
They just kind of fall into his system, like how when Homer shaves, it just kind of pops right back out instantly. But we get Bingo tears, and Bingo tears just snap my heart in half.
Do you know why? Well, outside of them being Bingo tears, of course.
But do you have more of a why for me? Are you going to tell me my emotions?
I will tell you all about your emotions. Absolutely.
Please mansplain my emotions to me, Mike.
Can I also just say,
go for it.
Bingo tears break my heart sounds like a Dean Martin song or something. Bingo tears break my heart.
This is the first time you see poor Bingo cry on TV. Is this episode. Like, officially. This is like, put up a billboard, something.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
You see Bingo whimper.
You get Greg tears for the first time in this episode, too, with what's coming up next, because...
Prove it.
Mom to the rescue. And this is maybe one of my favorite visuals of the episode, just Bingo just zooming across the galaxy to the sun. And we get Jupiter just start to blare in the background. And...
He's getting feels.
I'm getting the feels. I have to go. I'm a big girl now. But remember, and then Chili as the sun, I'll always be there for you, even when you can't see me, because I love you. And the first time, I'm not going to lie, the first time and also an hour ago when I watched this before we recorded this, just a 7-minute kid show shouldn't make you feel the feels that hard.
It's incredible.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a moment of silence. It's a good moment, dude. It's great. And the music pauses when she gets sad. And she does actually whimper. And the moment you see the tears kick in, not only does she cry in bed, but you see Chili right there. And she's hugging her right away. Mm-hmm. So it's just...
Chili on the spot.
Chili on the spot.
And then we close things out. Bingo's trying to get back in the globe, struggling. Mustn't forget Floppy. Mom of the year right now. Mom brings Floppy over. Floppy
Mustn't forget Floppy.
helps close the earth back around Bingo. We zoom out. Just, I don't know music words. We'll say crescendo again. The music gets loud. It gets epic. We see the toilet. We see the water. Bandit and Bluey snuggle on the floor. And then Mom with the bed to herself.
There's something about a quiet house.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. The glass of water sitting there. And they wax it so poetically where it's just sitting there and you're just like, oh. But if you don't have a glass of water sitting on your bedstand right now, collecting dust, like in my head, that is real life.
Oh, yeah. And to see Chili just luxuriating in by herself in the bed it's just really satisfying to be like, she earned that. She earned that, and she's gonna have one of the better nights of sleep she's had in a long time.
Hopefully this is a Saturday or Sunday they can all sleep in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing on this one, I think the first and only time we get the credits in black and white. We don't have that nice blue and white font or anything dancing around. It's just the music playing over. We've got the stars kind of slowly fade in, and then we cut on again. Just a magnificent episode. Before we get to wrapping up, Adal, any closing thoughts, closing feelings on Lovely Sleepytime?
Yes, I would say whether or not if you're listening to this episode, you're clearly invested in Bluey to some degree. But if by chance you stumble over here by any other means, check out Bluey. I think this is. I don't know if this is a great episode to start with. Maybe it is, but
ooh, that's a true statement.
But I think just. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Start with this episode if you've never seen Bluey, just to see the beauty and the power and the humor and the. I don't know how to articulate just how well the voice actors do. Like, it's so the mom and the dad obviously, but then the kids. I don't know if it's adults voicing kids. I don't know if it's kids voicing kids.
It's just littlies.
It's kids, and they actually do not credit the children, so they can have
anonymity.
Thank you for pronouncing that word before I stumbled over it.
We got this.
So it's uncredited children who work for the staff.
Wow, but that is, the kids are some of the best vocal actors I've ever heard in my life, and it's just like, how are they doing this? Like, how are? It's beautiful and it's frustrating, and it's incredible. So I think start with it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Start with this episode. Give it a chance. I've told so many people about Bluey, and people have come back and been like, I gotta be honest, I didn't check it out. Like, I don't watch kids shows, and I'm like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's more than that. It transcends the target demographic or audience.
Have them start with Sleepytime, follow that up with some Unicourse, and let them know that there's everything in between is what this show is.
What does a Unicourse eat?
Children. Thank you again. Let's wrap things up here. But before I let you go, hey, Adal, what was your favorite thing today?
I would say in the episode you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because my favorite thing today was hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Tutor!
But if it has to be from the episode, which I guess it must, I would say my favorite moment it's the moment that makes me cry, which is, you mentioned it, which is when Bingo is sort of warp speeded across the galaxy to the sun, and then to see, I think they do such a great job of, like, when you see the animated sun and hear Chili's voice, there's something about that for the first time to hear a voice through the dream character and her represented by the sun and her warmth and love. That moment I think is just really the heart of this episode.
That's not fair, dude.
You got Mike tearing up over here. So
Well,
no, I was supposed to be the first one to cry, not you. Come on.
well, you can't ask me that question now. He stole it.
It's the same. It's the same.
It's exactly that. Everything freezes. She's alone. She's crying for the first time, and then you just see that sun and the planets do move. So she does show up, and it's boom, rolling on that comet, and you can't argue with that moment. It's sleepy time, man. It's the moment.
Chili moves the universe, the stars and the moons, to be able to pass this message along. To be able to pass this message along, yeah.
We'll get there one day, Greg. Hey, Greg, what was your favorite thing? Please, something else.
It was when Bluey was staring at Mom. She lost her mind, scared at her child staring at her. That's just... It's a deep episode. I have to bring it down just a little bit because, man, that's just... Again, when an episode like this can make you laugh out loud the 20th time that you watch it, just I was sitting there, my daughter came in and like put on Sleepytime. I was like, you need to watch it one more time, Dad, before you record your podcast. Like, okay, boss. And just it gets to that spot and I still laugh. That's a pretty special thing.
Greg,
nice.
With that being the case,
Well,
I mean, it's probably...
Ask our good guest friend. He gets to go first. Manners.
My apologies. I'm still learning
Sorry,
manners.
my dude. Sometimes you get the chicken and sometimes you get the bone. I don't know. I lost my analogy.
Taking it one day at a time. I'll figure it out. Who's your favorite character?
I gotta say, favorite character in this episode is Chili. I think in a lot of previous episodes, I've always liked Chili, but I think in a lot of previous episodes, she's usually frustrated or trying to kind of shut down or curb, for good reason, Bandit's nonsense or his improv. So this is one of the maybe one of the first where I'm just like, this is just a fantastic display of like her depth and her emotional abilities and everything and parenting skills. So I think this was Chili's episode for sure.
She's the son.
I right there, just like you had to stat before. I have to say sames. This was a great episode with Chili. Just she was the moon, she was the sun, the sky, she's the center of the universe for her children. Do anything for them. I have a great mother, and very, very Chili vibes from her in this. Just do anything for her kiddo. So this one hit me in the feels in a lot of different ways. Is it a three-peat or where are you going?
I do want to give it to Bingo. She got to sleep in her own bed.
That's not a bad answer. She was a big girl.
She was a big girl, and in the beginning, she does say, "I want to spend the whole night by myself and wake up in my own bed." Oh, this episode is just full right in the feels.
Well, then, final question, Adal. How do you rank Sleepytime?
I'm gonna go, and this is any number system, or are we doing 10?
Whatever makes you smile.
No rules, just right.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is 1 million bottles of things out of 1 million bottles of things. A perfect 1 million out of 1 million.
The only light that was on all night. It was the bathroom light.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah?
How do you rank this episode?
I ranked this episode 6 solid bags under everybody's eyes that were awake during the episode. Because there were some people that were still awake trying to survive. And even though it was an experience for Bingo, she was asleep for a lot of the episode. So it's everyone's bags. Greg.
Yes.
How in the world do you rank the episode Sleepytime?
I rank this a whole planet full of flopsies.
Ooh,
Circling Saturn.
strong.
A lot of flopsies.
That's a lot of flopsies. Adal, thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Dude.
Anything you would like to plug while you're here?
Yeah, you can check out. I do 3 podcasts. You can check out Hey Riddle Riddle, where it's me and some friends trying to solve riddles, puzzles, lateral thinking problems, and getting stuck in chaos along the way. You can also check out Hello from the Magic Tavern, an improvised fantasy podcast about a gentleman who falls into a portal into a magical world, much like Narnia, but instead of going on high adventure, he kind of sets up shop in a tavern and interviews the locals. And then you can also check out The Monster Line, which is sort of 2 monsters who are sort of fix-its for monster problems. I play a cowboy vampire. You can check all 3 of those out wherever you find podcasts.
Love it.
All right, I will double back on that too, because I've held this in all episode. Those are Magic Tavern and Hey Ridderil are two of my favorite podcasts in the world. So if you like this and you trust me, please check those out because they are amazing podcasts. And I was not aware of the Monster line, but that's getting added too.
It's brand new.
Greg won't stop talking about them.
Thank you so much.
Brand spanking new. Love it. An exclusive right here, but probably not.
Thank you all so much for the support and kind words. That's very nice of you.
Right back at you. Thank you so much for joining us. You didn't have to. And
Anytime.
Any fan of Bluey and etc. That's me not learning my improv very well.
Next time I'll come on and we'll discuss that when we finally see, I can't remember what episode it is, but when we finally see their house, I'm like, whoa, they're millionaires?
And if you ever need somebody to voice any of the 500 dogs on Magic Tavern, we were happily put on our worst Australian accent and hop out there, sir.
Nice.
So no worries.
I appreciate it.
I'll be at least one of them.
Real quick, at Watching Bluey on Twitter, check us out. Patreon, bit.ly/2BWBPat. Speaking of Patreon, thank you so very much.
More than very much.
To our inaugural $5 block Patreon member, Alexandra Chrysor. You are awesome. We appreciate you. Thank you. If you want a shout out on the podcast,
I will shout out louder.
tier, you also get a lovely little cameo from us.
We might send a little video for you saying, hey, not only thank you, but super thank you for real life.
Extra plug today
Uh-oh.
with all the social media hubbubaloo going on right now.
Huggabaloo.
Check us out at linktr.ee/watchingbluey. That's all of our links, all everything, all of our stuffs listed in a nice, funky, fresh order.
Greg.
Also, Linktree. What? Hey, Greg,
I want to find
Greg,
merch.
What's the Linktree?
I want to find merch. Where do I find that?
At the Linktree.
How do I find our TikTok?
At the Linktree.
Good golly, where else could I go to find anything about us?
At the Linktree.
Oh,
also,
man.
just fun fact, Linktree is spelled linktr.ee/watchingbluey.
.au?
Not yet. Merch, bit.ly/2BWB swag.
Also us.
And lastly, and most importantly,
Is it for tears?
if you want to have an intergalactic adventure, why don't you check out the Canberra Space Center in Paddy River, Australia. Currently open and booking for school field trips. For details, go to cdscc.nasa.gov.au.
Wow, that's extensive.
Adal, we usually close up shop here with our little catchphrase.
I say it.
I'd like to
You
say
say
it on 3. 1, 2, 3. It's gotta be done.
Gotta be
Wait,
done.
where's it's gonna be done.